Hi, you're watching the Bermdog Show. We're here at Empire BMX, and Tom Williams is going to show you how to work on your bike.
Hello, I'm Thomas Williams. My professional name is Tom. I own Empire BMX along with my domestic partner, also known as wife, Tina. And we're going to show you some basic tech tips for your bicycle motocross vehicle today on the Bermdog Show.
Yes.
Okay, next tech tip is going to be European bottom bracket installation. Lots of frames these days are going to kind of more specialized bottom brackets than the old American style, which pound in with a hammer and a piece of wood. It's not very pretty thing. European cups are threaded, screw directly into the specially threaded frame bottom bracket. Main thing with these is just remember there's a left and a right cup. They're usually clearly marked, right, left, or the right one also has a little line around the perimeter of the widest part there. You can always, if the letters rub off, you can check it that way. So it's kind of confusing. The right side of the frame is actually reverse threaded, which is opposite of how your pedals are. You know, your left pedal is threaded backwards, your right pedal is normal. Cups are backwards for some reason. That's BMX industry didn't think about that one too well. So your right cup is going to thread in towards the left, which is counterclockwise. Left cup threads in clockwise. First thing to do, this is the most important part of the whole thing, is the tube spacer that goes between the bearings. If you don't have that inside between the bearings, then you will crush your bearings from excess side load, and the bottom bracket will last about 1 month. So to make sure it's the right size, since frames don't actually come very consistent, every company is a little different, you can install everything on your spindle. Whoops. You can install everything on the spindle if you haven't dropped all the parts. Squeeze it all together, and that's the width of your bottom bracket, you know, and then you want to compare it to the shell of the frame, and you want it to be exactly the same. So you hold it up there, a little clearer picture. And since I chose the same brand for frame and bottom bracket, Fit Bike Company, it's perfect, which is usually not the case, but the bottom bracket cups can be maybe a millimeter wider. That would be all right. You don't want them to be skinnier than the frame, or else you got big problems. So this is perfect. So you take all that apart. I would recommend applying a liberal amount of grease. I will not do that since this frame is going to belong to someone else. They might not want it all dirtied up. So we'll just do it without grease, and then you'll get the idea. So first thing, right cup. Get it started, counterclockwise motion. Threads right in, no burrs. Fit, good company. Make sure their bottom bracket threads are clean. Most bottom brackets use a 36 millimeter wrench. You can use a large adjustable wrench, something like this, but I'd use the right tool if you had access to it. Fits right on the flats. Tighten it up. Pretty tight. You don't want to go crazy with it. The tool's not overly long, so you can't get too much leverage. It's just about right. Snug it up. If you have your spindle from your crank set out, it's helpful because you can slide it in to the bearing. Just, you know, a little bit of the way, and it'll hold the tube spacer in place. So that way, when you're putting in the next cup, the tube spacer is right there. It's not in the way or in crooked. So left side of the bike threads in clockwise. Get that thing started. And if everything is measured correctly, it should go right in and stop up against the side of the frame without any interference from the tube spacer. Everything will line up just well. This one looks like it's coming all right. Snug it up at the very end. And voila. I take a little tap with a hammer to get the spindle all the way in. And for most intensive purposes, that's how it's done. Put your cranks in as normal, spacing out the arms and sprocket as necessary, and you're good to go. All right. I think I'll do the other type of bottom bracket as well. Those are simple, but confusing to some people. This is what's known as a press fit bottom bracket. So unlike the Euro, it doesn't have threads or anything, and doesn't have cups. The actual bearing slides right into the frame. This is kind of a new thing and become real popular. It's real simple to install, maintenance free generally. Frame companies have to be a little more precise with the specs and the finishing up of these frames because this surface has to be just right, not ovalized, not distorted in any way. So we'll put one of these suckers together. So of course you would always use grease. I'll neglect that this time. Basics are still very similar to a Euro. You have your two bearings, tube spacer. All you really do, after applying a little bit of grease to the inside of the frame, just kind of hold the bearing in there and give it a couple of taps. The bearing has a little lip machined inside the shell so the bearing stops right where it's supposed to. Take your tube spacer, slide in, kind of hold it with your finger if you don't have your spindle with you. Give it a couple taps. Everything works right. Your tube spacer will be in there just fine. Bearings are all the way in. Put your cranks on. These normally come with special spacers. Cover up the surface of the bearing so dirt, debris doesn't get in there. And you just put your cranks in like you normally would and you're good to go. No cups, no frills, no problems. That is the press fit bottom bracket on the Bermdog Show.